After almost an entire week of playing Wuthering ways, I decided to choose this leader creature as my main damage dealer. Her name is Encore, member of the Black Shorts by lore, but we're not here for all of that. What I want to talk to you guys about is how you're probably underestimating this little creature, Encore, her true potential as a character. So in this video, I will talk about everything you need to know about Encore, coming down to swap canceling, weapons, echoes, and what team to really consider when building Encore. Before I dive deep into the video, I will be ignoring her secret notes, as this video is aimed towards free-to-play players that are going to be mainly using Encore. Encore probably has one of the best highest single target DPS windows, but lack a hybrid character or a character that makes her playstyle better. But we'll talk later on that when we talk about teams. Encore gameplay loop will be you dealing and dishing out as much damage as you can while also utilizing swap canceling. However, if you are playing Encore solo, stick around towards the end of the video where I'll talk about teams, because there are some things or issues with playing as a solo Encore, but don't worry, it's not bad as you think. But besides that, Encore doesn't have no supporting capabilities, so don't even try to bother her or building her as a sub DPS character unless you get her secret note 4, where she can buff your entire team with fusion damage. But really, let's be realistic, you're probably a free-to-play player, so this doesn't really matter, or if you're not running Mortifi on a team, so it doesn't matter as well. There is a possibility where somewhere you can maybe use Chichia and make Encore a sub DPS character for Chichia, but for now I'm not going to go down that road because I really don't know how Chichia work in game. Now that's out the way, let's talk about Encore combos, and there's a lot of you guys that probably missed out if you did not play her in training mode or you don't have her at all. Encore has 4 basic attacks, well really 5 basic attacks, because after your 4th basic attack she will do an additional 5th attack where she summons a giant woolly that would deal twice the damage. So how can we utilize this? You can pretty much spam the basic attack if you're on cooldown on everything, so after your 5th attack you want to dodge and repeat the process to avoid any delay and quickly make Encore more of a spamming character when it comes to her basic attack. Keep in mind, after your 5th attack you could quickly swap in the middle of the attack, which is a first look at swap canceling for Encore. Encore has 2 versions of heavy attack. If her forte gauge isn't filled, you will only spam this like mini fusion ball towards your enemy, but let's say it's filled. This is where you remain idle in place while casting a huge explosion. So you probably might be thinking or might be saying, well, isn't this bad because I don't really want to utilize her heavy attacks then? Well, you are correct about that, because I rarely use her heavy attacks sometimes, even in her liberation stage. But let's say you do use it. You could also swap cancel in the middle of it so she could avoid damage at all time, and it doesn't stop it either, so you will keep your damage going. Let's say you don't swap cancel or you just playing Encore solo, you do have reduced in damage taken by 70% inside and outside of her liberation stage, so you will take in a lot of crazy damage to at least guarantee some sort of survivability for her. Now that we're done talking about Encore basic combo and half her kit, let's talk about Encore skill. When you use Encore skill or Encore resonant skill, she summons a random minigun that you will blast towards your enemy in her vicinity. Now the downfall of this is how long the animation takes, so you can be hit at any given moment, but thankfully whenever you are fighting any enemies, all you have to do is swap cancel, so you will just swap to any other member on your team so she can avoid damage at all time or any damage that she might take. The only downside to this is if you're playing co-op or playing solo Encore, so this probably won't matter as much as you guys think. When you are also using Encore skill as well, make sure you spam her skill button or spam your basic attack button. The reason why I say this is because of the little ring that glows around her, similar to the ring that glows around her when she's doing a basic attack. After you press her skill button or her basic attack, she will perform a heavy attack towards at the end of the skill combo, so you can pull off more damage. Now let's talk about Encore ultimate or Encore liberation. It's pretty direct forward, and she powers up like she becomes a Dragon Ball character moving at high speed. Now in this stage she has different variations of her resonant skill attack, so instead of a minigun, it's this weird slash projectile attack that she does, and you could possibly pull it off 2 or 3 times in this stage when using her ultimate. But do keep in mind, when you are using her heavy attack, it will cancel or end the duration of her ultimate form. Also, when you are in this stage, and I mean it, do not swap cancel. You don't want to lose out on any huge numbers you could have possibly dished out, but you lost a lot of numbers or a lot of damage because you swapped to another character. Once her ultimate ends, then it's safe to swap to another character if you need to. So what could you do when you are in her ultimate form? Basically, you want to use your basic attack, use Encore skill, then basic attack, then heavy attack, then swap to another character. Nothing else really changes besides the animation and the looks of her basic attack animation, but if I am wrong about anything or I find find something new, please do check the pinned comments of this video or wait for a new updated Encore guide video. Let's say you have her Consultor energy field. When you do use Encore outro skill, she will do constant fusion damage before she leaves the field, and using her intro skill, she will pounce on the enemy to also deal fusion damage. Nothing too crazy, we already know she's a main damage dealer with no real supporting capabilities. So our next progress is to figure out what should we be leveling up when it comes to her forte. First, always get your inherit skill for any character in the game. For Encore case, she will get more damage if you level her inherit skill. Second being her basic attack, since she will mostly utilize her basic combos. Third being her resonant skill, and fourth being her liberation or ultimate, and last being her outro skill, since her outro skill isn't providing any additional support to characters swapping onto the field, but additional damage only coming from Encore herself. Let's talk about echoes, and I want to keep it short and brief because if I talk about echoes, I'll just be here all day and ages trying to explain about echoes. For in-game, you want to have this echo build. 4 cost echo, which either gives you crit damage or crit rate. 2 3 cost echoes, both giving you fusion damage. 2 1 cost echoes that give you attack percentage, and make sure it's the Molten Rift echo set that gives you a 30% increase in fusion damage for 15 seconds. If you're not able to run this echo set, then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have Infernal Rider first, which is a 4 cost echo that gives you any crit rate or crit damage, and just have a 3 echo cost that gives you fusion damage. Rest can just be attack, but trying to have fusion damage and crit matters a lot, and you can work up anything that you can for attack. There's really not that many good weapons when it comes to Wuthering Waves, so here are 3 best in slot weapons when it comes to Encore. If you have the 5-star weapon Cosmic Ripples, you want to run that weapon because it will increase your basic attack and give you attack percentage as the main stat. Second being the Battle Pass weapon. You're mainly going to run this weapon because it gives crit rate and it gives you attack by 15%, lasted for 15 seconds. And last but not least, Jinshu Keeper. It gives you attack percentage as the main stat, but the only downfall to this weapon is it only works by using your intro skill. When you do use your intro skill, it will increase your attack by 8% for 15 seconds. It does also increase your HP as well, but we do not care for HP when it comes to Encore. Okay, so let's talk about the juicy part of this video. Teams. Encore has a pretty massive debuff at the moment when it comes to teams. She don't really have any characters in the game that could give fusion buff, or really a character that helps revolve around her playstyle, similar to how Kakarot and Jiyeon has their own supports like Mortifi and Yinlin that will be coming out in the next banner pretty soon. But regardless, let's talk about the possible sub DPS characters. First being Sunhwa, and I will list everything in bullet points on why we will use Sunhwa. After getting Sunhwa at Sequence Node 6, all the team members have an increase in attack by 10% for 20 seconds that stack up 2 times. And for her outro skill gives us a 38% basic attack for 14 seconds, and this ends at the moment Encore swaps off the field or duration of the outro skill has ended. Second being Verena, she gives amazing and great heals, help Encore resist fatal death or damage, and guild shield equal up to 120% of Verena attack that lasts for 10 seconds and trigger every 10 minutes. But you will need to level this up or unlock this first in her forte skill tree. And for her outro skill and her inherit skill, Gift of Nature increase attack power for all members on the team. Baji can be a possibility for Encore, as Baji also increase attack for the team as well. And I only recommend Baji if you don't have Verena. However, Baji isn't really the best due to how much field time Baji herself takes up. Third being Jajin. The only reason why we're going to include Jajin on the list of people or characters to use on the team for Encore is because of her ultimate, where she can crowd control enemies or CC enemies, and her outro skill of buffing Encore liberation damage. However, it's not recommended, and we're only using Jajin for the swap cancellation reason other than the liberation damage. Yang Yang too could also crowd control enemies and be a battery character for Encore, but just like Baji, Yang Yang and Baji are only pickable if you don't have Verena, Sunhwa, or Jajin available. Before we end off this video, let's talk about Encore rotation, or how should we play her in a team situation. If you're playing solo, then this part doesn't really pertain to you as much, but still keep watching. So in order, you want to use your intro skill, then use Infernal Rider, because Infernal Rider gives fusion damage. You can use out of your skill, which is recommended, or a basic attack, then your liberation or ultimate. Once you're in your ultimate or liberation form, use your skill attack, then basic attack, then skill attack again into your basic attack. And lastly, you could try the skill if you have time left, or just use heavy attack, then swap out. Pretty short and easy combo, but in short, what matters is is using Inferno Router first at the start of your rotation so you can have fusion damage, then using your heavy attack before your ultimate or liberation in and swapping out. You're only going to do this if you can't keep up with the combo, and an easier way to remember it. If you did find this video helpful, please do me a major favor and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's reach 10,000 subscribers this year. That's the goal, but we also have a Discord server if you want to join that as well, and watch my last video where I tried to solo Scar in Wuthering Ways, and I'll see you guys in another video soon. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time.